So I'll be presenting two projects. Hopefully time permits me. I think I can do that within 30 minutes. Two projects very quickly. The first one is a product plus brand design, and the second one is just strictly brand. Yeah. First of all, I think I'll just introduce myself. So I combine strategy and storytelling with graphic design. Now, I kind of have graphic design as a parent of both product and like brand design. So you may not agree with me, but that's a conversation for another day. But yeah. So if you know anything about Cowrywise, then you know that these two things are true. So we work hard to make money useful for our customers, and we also intentionally create products that are useful to the customers that we serve. And so the first product I'm going to talk about is Money Duo and making money useful for romantic partners. When we were trying to create this product, there were a couple of things that were important. So we kind of understood that we're creating a product for a very small community, like a very niche community, people who are married and who want to save together. So in that space of people who are married, there are a lot of people who don't trust each other, especially with money. You get, and the number of people who are going to decide to go into like a savings plan or an investment plan together, they are kind of like very, very little compared to the number of people who are saving. And then we understood that this is for couples that already trust each other. We knew that we wanted to focus on long-term tangible goals for couples, and then we understood that, okay, we're not designing for everybody. We are just focused on designing for Nigerian millennials or African millennials, as the case may be. So there are a couple of insights we got from our survey, so to speak, our survey and data in-house. So, and should I say what the economic status is? We all know that Nigeria is in a, let's call it a rebuilding phase, but yeah, so most couples don't earn enough to just put excess money aside and say, okay, we'll just be dumping money here. And then we kind of like saw that before they actually even put money aside, they needed clear goals. So we want to put money aside for XYZ. And then they showed interest towards investing for long-term rather than short-term goals. So more long-term goals, for instance, building a house. Yeah, and they understood that building wealth was, as a couple, was a journey and stuff. And then the idea of trust was very fundamental, because for me to kind of have a joint account with you or a shared account with you for something that has to do with money, it's important that I kind of trust you. And I think we know that not all couples trust each other anyways. So yeah, so with that, we kind of broke down the plan. We kind of broke it down into four long-term plans and one like quote-unquote enjoyment plan, in the sense that you have four things that you can save, like you can consistently save towards, and there's something else that you're not kind of like always making sacrifices. You can always save towards like having like fun as a couple, which is like being on a vacation. So owning a car, own a home, have a child, saving towards a child education and vacation to relax. Yeah, so this was how we executed it. So what we did was to kind of create these buckets. We call them pods, for Money Duo. So to kind of create these pods, we created these pods to kind of like house the milestones. So each capital investment is a milestone. So you have own a home, a new car, have a baby, child's education, vacation. So these are points on that couple's journey. So when you get married, you kind of like are looking to get a house, or you're kind of looking to have a baby, or if you already have a child, for instance, then you're kind of like saving towards something for your child. So it's like capital things that are key checkpoints in your journey as a couple. And then we now have one more thing that it's kind of like, okay, we know, yeah, money is serious, but at some point, so you still have to kind of like have fun and stuff. So this was how we executed it in the product. And then, so we also left space for accountability. So in the sense that I have a plan with you, but I can't just do anything on the plan without you knowing. You get, so if I withdraw money from the plan, you have to know. We send you a notification. So that way, there's this accountability that mindset that you have, that if I do anything that is quote unquote wrong, my partner will know. So you kind of like have to behave yourself. You get, yeah. And then this is like a snapshot of some of the things that we did. And yeah, so this is the web product. Then visually, there was a way we kind of like tried to interpret the whole thing, because Cowrywise is also known for how thoughtful their design is. Yeah, so how thoughtful their visual design is. So we kind of like combined the idea of saving for the long term and the idea of having a romantic relationship. And luckily for us, there was already like symbols for some of these things. So a symbol for forever was the infinity symbol, and a symbol for love is the heart symbol. So we could just easily combine the two to kind of like create something for ourselves, something that we could use to sort of identify the product. And then we also created like our own infinity symbol, which is, we kind of used it on the website anyways. So, which is like two wedding bands, the wedding band of a man and the wedding band and the engagement ring of a woman, combining to create like a forever symbol. And then we also had this that we still used. So you and yours kind of like forming two do. Yeah, so this is the eternal law symbol that we used like at different places. So for the notification pane or panel, we needed something with an outline. Then here we needed like a fill icon, and here we needed something a little bit more illustrated. So it kind of shows how we were able to scale that particular idea upwards. And this is how we kind of like also made it into a full illustration on the website. So we had it here, and then that's the forever symbol there. And then this is the door where we used the two symbols. And then, yeah, so here we kind of like used it in different places. Yeah, so that was for Money Duo. Then now I'm going to be talking about the visual identity behind the Cowrywise engineering talk, Under the Hood. The idea behind Under the Hood, what we are doing currently, is to show you what's happening behind the scenes, right? And the way we kind of work in Cowrywise, product, design, engineering are under one engineering umbrella. So if they say engineering department, is product design and engineering. And so to visually interpret the idea we had, we kind of looked at what it meant, like how we worked behind the scenes. And in that sense, like everybody actually actively uses a laptop to do their core functions. And so where we started from was, we had an illustration style that design did, where we had like an isometric, we had isometric illustrations with money patterns. So you have like an isometric illustration in the color, mix it with the patterns, and you could have something like this. So we took out the patterns because we are kind of like going a different direction for this. So we took out the patterns, and then we anchored it on pixel graphics. So we mixed it with that pixel graphic, the isometric style, the pixel graphic, to give this. And for us to also achieve what we wanted to do, we had to expand the color palette for the Cowrywise brand. So the reasoning behind adding darker colors was because you're kind of, when you say under the hood, for instance, let me use a car as an example. So if you, like where the engine sits, for example, is always dark except you lift up the hood, and then that's when you like let light into it. So that was the idea of using the darker colors. Yeah, and then so this is of how we created the illustration style. So there were sketches, and we kind of like filled it up a little bit, and then you see the blue shadows underneath and everything. And so we created more illustrations like that. So you would notice that they have, it's not just pixel, it has like lines to kind of like make you feel like, it has a lot of lines to make you feel like you are looking through a computer screen, right? And so we created some other things, some exciting things here. For instance, this one is uh, is like the Android mascot is losing weight because we're talking about the size of our app. It's kind of like an exciting, an exciting explanation of the article. So yeah, and then for the invites, I know you guys have seen this. The people that we send the invites to, our guests. So for this, it's really the same idea. The idea that you are lifting like the hood of something to see what's behind it. So that's why you have this, almost like you're lifting something up, and then you can now see what is behind. So the title of the talk is always going to be here. So that's why I have this like this, and yeah, and yeah, I think I did it even in less than yeah, less time. Yeah, so yeah, all right,